Hello and welcome to our crafting session this morning, Wednesday the 27th of August 2025. My name's Jenny McCormack. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and I'm based in the market town of Brackley in Northamptonshire, and that's here in in the UK. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm bringing you some brand new products. These will be released next week, and I thought I would use them for our demonstration today. Normally I do just online products or kits, but I've actually run out of products. So I thought I would give you a sneak peek of the Autumn Trees stamp set and papers that will be available from our forthcoming catalogue. This is our September to December catalogue, and that starts next week. So let's get cracking. I can't show you the information in the catalogue until the catalogue goes live. Catalogues will be handed out to my coffee and card attendees later this week and early next week, and in my class in a box they will go out. And obviously if you've ordered from me directly, then you will also get a copy of that in the post automatically. So let me see. This is the stamp set. There are 7 stamps in here. They're larger than you see on here. I haven't used this, as you can see. So there is a huge oak tree or equivalent. And then we have a smaller tree here. It's not quite a poplar, I'm not quite sure what it is. We have some rocks. We have some little bit of ground feature. We have this beautiful stag, and then some more grass and some more rocks and background. It's a cling stamp set, so that we know that this will not be available after the end of the year, because all of the cling stamps are being retired. Let me show you the papers. So this paper pack is 12 by 12. It's called Autumn 12, and it's a slightly different configuration to what we're used to, in that there are 12 sheets, there are 4 designs, and you get 3 of each. And that's different to previously, where we had 6 designs and there were 2 of each. What's great about this combination, and in particular for Christmas cards, is that if you want to do multiples, you've got more of the same papers to do multiples that are the same, if that makes any sense at all. So let me show you. So these are the 4 designs. They're all double-sided. So we have this beautiful one here, using those stamps actually. So we've got the image of the tree here, we've got the smaller tree from the stamp set, and then the rocks and assorted bits, and obviously we have the stag here as well. So the colours in here, we've got early espresso, we've got pecan pie. On the other sheets we've also got Cajun craze and garden green. The reverse of that is beautiful early espresso, with a sort of checkerboard effect. So great for mail cards or neutral cards. Sympathy, this would also work for. This one has got scenery and the pheasants, both on the ground and in flight. This is using actually mossy meadow, and on the back of that we've got some grey granite and espresso. And then on this one here, if you can see them, we've got the foxes. Sorry about the reflection. Let's move that a little bit there. So we've got the foxes, and then we've got stripes in early espresso on basic beige, and then finally we have the pumpkins. This is very sweet, with the scenery, and we've also got little oak leaves and acorns, and on the back of that we've got, I want to say that's grey granite. Let me have a look and see on my sheet if I can read the tiny writing. Cajun Craze Espresso, grey granite, mossy meadow, pecan pie and vanilla. So those are the papers. And obviously if you love foxes or deer, or the countryside, or autumn colours for men's cards, these are perfect. I'm just going to be using the stamp set for today. Get it out and get it inked up. Always a good thing to do. So I haven't, as you see, I haven't even used this. So I'm just going to pop this out, and I'm going to pop it on my Stamparatus because it's quite a big stamp, and it's about as big as our largest easy to handle block. There is a larger one again, but I find that particularly hard to handle. I'm going to get the little stag out as well, and probably some of the ground. Okay, so that is the stamp set, Autumn Trees. Let's pop it on the Stamparatus and just do a nice simple card. Now I chose white actually, but I think what I should have done was chosen vanilla to stamp on. But let's see how we get on. I can always do one of each. So let's peel the back of this off. So all of our stamps will migrate to photopolymer. Let's pop the sheet down. And you don't have to use the whole of the tree, of course. You could have this going slightly off and then have the deer. So don't feel you've got to literally plonk it in the middle. In fact, I'm going to have mine slightly off to one side. So let's position this first. Put my magnet on. Have I got a magnet on the back? No. Okay. And I'm going to have this, yeah, like so. And what have we got on the bottom? So there's a bit of a gap, and then there's our tree and the roots at the bottom. Good morning, Caroline. I hope you're well. And there's my little stag going to go in there. So I'm going to put this just offset to the left. Hopefully you can see that on there. Try not to knock that. Okay. So I'm going to ink this up. So this is Autumn Trees that we're using. So this is actually in the new catalogue. Hi Tara. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're well. So I'm going to use good old early espresso to ink that up, and then there's lots of different ways you could colour this tree. So you could use blends pens, you could use, if you'd used StazOn or something, you could use watercolour pencils and a blender pen. You could ink up the stamp with different greens. I'm just going to go for our simple ink it up and add some blends, I think. There's always a chance I'll change my mind. Okay, so I haven't inked this one up before, but we should be good. I can always just re-ink it and re-stamp it. And I've got it just coming off the side. These make great retirement cards, trees, I always think. Or sympathy, obviously, and as much as none of us like to do sympathy cards, we do always need them. Okay, so there's my tree there. I'm happy with that stamp. I don't think I need to add anything else. Just making sure it's sort of straight. It's sort of straight. Okay. So the good thing about using a stamping platform is you can then put another piece on, same place, stamp it, and off you go. Okay, I'll clean that in a minute. Alright, and now I've got my stag. I could do with a block to stamp with. awful. Okay, I've got a big block. It's only because everything is packed ready for coffee and card, so I do apologise. Okay, let's just ink this up and practice with this, because I do need the stag to be standing straight. So I'm going to put my block in line with my grid paper here, and here is my deer. So in case the rubber isn't deadly aligned with the bottom of the deer, I'm just going to look at the feet of the deer, hopefully, and get that straight. And this will be the advantage, obviously, of everything being photopolymer, as you'll be able to see through it. So I'm just lining this up on my grid paper to see if I've got that straight, which it is. So the feet of my deer are straight on there. So let's bring this in, work out where my deer is going to go. I feel like I want him in line with this, roughly. And this is my mark. So what I'm actually going to do, if I can, is, ooh, I need a darker colour than that. Let's see. I just want to mark on my block roughly where those feet are. Okay, so I'm going to ink this up, and I can just see that line through there. It's not the best line, but I want to keep the straight block straight to here. So let's put that on there so that it's straight on my grid paper, and then I can position this. So I don't mind if my deer, I don't want my deer sort of overlapping the tree, that's the only thing. So what I'm going to do is that, hopefully. So I know there's a bit of a gap between the bottom of the stamp and where the deer starts. There we go. I'm happy with that. And then I can add some ground here. So we've got this one, and we've got these stones. So I think I'm going to use this one here, which is, oh, I've got grass as well. Now you could use blending brushes across the bottom if you wished. Let's just have a look at this. And again, I'm going to have this stamped just going off the edge. Okay, let me stamp that and see what it looks like. I don't recommend using such a big block normally. Yes, that's so can you see it's perfectly lined up on that line there. So as long as my block is straight, that will be straight. Thanks, Caroline. So again, I'm going to position this on my paper, keep it nice and level, and then I'm positioning this, and again I could have, because it is a little bit high, let's do the same. Could really do with better. So that's my line of where the bottom of that ground is. Hopefully you can see that. Can you see that, Mark? Just about. So that's just going to help me position this, because I don't want it, you know, completely out of line. So, and I don't want it over my stag. There we go. Right, I'm going to add some detail on the bottom. Let's do some quick colouring. There are no sentiments with this set. There is a matching set that goes with it that does have sentiments, but I think this makes a nice thinking of you card, for example. So let's quickly do this. So I've got different greens. So I've got some granny apple green, a little bit of mossy meadow. I'll need a bit of crumb cake or any brown really for the tree trunk. I might need to take my glasses off. So I hope everybody is well. We are due to have a little bit of rain, I believe, today, which is much needed for the garden. It's got a way to go for it to recover my grass. Okay, so I'm just using the point to do these little bits of tree trunk. Just a little bit of colouring there. And there's some bits here. So I'm just going to dot these in. I'm not worried about getting the fine detail of this. Like so. So that is light crumb cake. Just adding a little bit of definition on the left hand side. Bit of shading. Like so. And I think my stag is going to be in a similar colour. Obviously it could be a red deer. It would be Cajun craze in that case. It's very sweet. Just fine tip, nothing, I'm not doing anything particularly detailed with that. I'm going to, that's my little rock there. Okay, let's do some of the tree elements. So this is dark granny apple green. So what I'm going to do is just add in a little bit of depth of that. I might use the other side. And the other day I cleaned all of my blending brushes. It was, I couldn't believe the amount of ink that came out of them. Okay, so just adding in granny apple green, dark, and then I'm going to add in some lighter colour. And obviously you could make this autumn colours. I've gone for green, but you could definitely make this in oranges and yellows, although having said that, oh, it is an oak tree, so it would be. Greens, and then obviously changing colour before the leaves fall. I love autumn colours, but I don't love autumn particularly. Right, what else have we got? I've got saucy foam. I might do that as an all over. and then add in a little bit more depth. So you see, I'm not doing anything in detail here. This would work well, as I say, with watercolour pencils, even just the pencils on their own. You could use Stampin' Up markers as well, because it's not huge amount of detail required. There's the postie going. Okay. And then I need another green in there, light granny apple. Just to help blend that all together. So I've got dark granny apple, light granny apple, and then I've used soft tea foam all the way over as my sort of base layer, like so. So you can see I'm not doing anything particularly specialised or clever, just going over that whole area. Ooh, and my hand. Let's add a little bit in here. So there we are. That's it. And you can use the patterns and detail that the Stampin' Up designers have included here. So these little elements here, you can add some depth of colour with a darker colour, basically. Okay, so that's my basic colouring. So now what I want to do is add this ground in. So I have got this that's got the sort of patchy, which could be grass or whatever. Let's add a little bit of greenery in here. And stamp this. I've got crumb cake. Let's see what this looks like stamped out. Oh, hi Christine. Yes, that's perfect. So I'm just using this to help me place some ground so it doesn't look too bare. And don't forget, you can turn this round as well to get a slightly different effect. I think that's probably going to do like that. Let me lift that up so you can see it. Hopefully you can see that detail across the bottom. Which means if you're not confident in colouring that sort of ground, you could just literally use that stamp. I've got my light crumb cake here, so I'm just going to add a little bit more depth here, and like so. Go. And you could add different colours in for that as well, obviously. Okay, and all that's left then is the sky. So I think what I'm going to do is run and get my blending brush and add a little bit of sky detail to that. My plan is that this will drop onto an espresso layer like so. So bear with me 1 second. So I have my blending brush, which is still stained, needless to say. And a bit of balmy blue. So let's see. Yeah. A lot of my blending brushes have got slightly contaminated with a lot of use, so I just clean them all. So I just pop them in a little bowl with some washing up liquid, let them sit there for a day or two, and then rinse them out under the tap and then let them air dry. Okay, so I'm happy that I haven't got too much ink on here. And so I'm just going to bring this in from the edges. And I'm just going to bring it in sort of in patches. You could use a torn piece of paper against that if you wanted to. And also I could introduce a little bit of red or pink for an autumn type sky. Okay, so don't forget that the sky goes all the way to the ground. So just adding a little bit in there. It's probably a little bit too light for you to see, I'm not sure. And you could add the smaller trees in the background, but I'm just going for a straightforward card. And if you've got gaps in the trees, don't forget to add some ink to that. So this is Autumn Trees. It comes out in our September to December catalogue. So Christine, you'll get your copy in the post shortly. And that starts next week, the 3rd of September. That's Wednesday, isn't it? Of course, yeah. Okay. I don't think I'm going to put a sentiment on this. I just want to keep it nice and simple. If you've got other stamps like this, you could add those together. So if you've got other deer or other animals, different trees, just bear in mind the size of the tree. So if you've got smaller trees, you'll need those to be further away, so typically lighter. So there we go. I'm happy with that as it is. I'm going to pop that onto here and then onto a card. And we are done. So I hope you're keeping well, Christine. So just got an early espresso card here. Adding some glue. All the way around. Okay, just lining that up. Like so, and I just need to grab a card base. I wonder if I might go for basic beige. Just need to score that. clean those out of the way. So my class in a box details came out last night. Oh, this morning, I beg your pardon. So thank you to everybody who has booked already. And that features 5 fun folds that you can recreate at home. You don't need any big technical equipment. A punch or a circle die is all you need, and obviously a trimmer or something you can trim and score card and paper with. Okay, layering this up, just make sure I've got it close enough to the edge but not too close, and pop it on there. So I've got the basic beige, just a little bit less bright and in your face than white. So there's our card. You could add happy retirement. Obviously it could be a birthday card, it could be a sympathy card, could just be a thinking of you card. I'm going to leave that without a sentiment, and I'll add that when I'm ready to send it. So there we are, that's autumn trees. Sorry about the reflection, let me do it this way around, like so. And then, as I showed you before, if anybody missed it, the fabulous papers that go with this. So we've got pheasants, mossy meadow, we've got the same thing here with the trees, pumpkin patches, and the foxes, and then some really nice neutral backgrounds to go with it. So there we are. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's approaching 20 to 11, so definitely time for a cup of coffee. I shall be back on Monday morning with our new no, I'll be back tomorrow evening, carrying on with our Tractor and Company set. Goodness me, I thought it was Thursday already. And I'll be using the dies for that. So tomorrow evening UK time, 7 PM, sorry. And then I'll be back on Monday with a new stamp set of the week. And there's a reasonable chance that will be from our new September to December catalogue, as that goes live in the week. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be offering paper shares of papers from the new catalogue and also from the new online selection. So information about those will come out by email in the next day or two. You can pre-order now, and then you'll get your papers as soon as I get the stock in. Thank you so much, everyone. Do take care. Look after yourselves, look after your loved ones, and I hope you can keep on crafting. Thanks for now. Bye-bye.